Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, by the way, for being so raw and open and, sharing your experience with the world, because that takes a lot of courage and that takes a lot of strength, a lot of vulnerability, and a lot of openness on your part to truly, share your journey with the world. So you just finished inner beauty coaching with myself and had incredible transformation from the inside out. Like, I'm so proud of you and everything that you've done. And it's not just, it's a two-way street. I can provide the work, but if you don't apply it, then nothing will change, right? So do you want to share a little bit about your experience with inner beauty and the transformation that you've received over the past 3 months?
Sure, yeah, and no problem. I've been looking forward to this. I know at first I felt too vulnerable and didn't want to share, but now that I've come so far with this, I am like, let's help everybody and let's just put my heart on my sleeve and let's do this. So a little bit about it is, I don't know, I've always struggled with my depression and my anxiety and, my self-worth and, just loving myself. And since I've started this with Celine, it's been such an amazing transformation. I've gotten over PTSD. I've dealt with sexual assault, PTSD as well. So there's a lot I've dealt with in only 3 short months with her. And I don't believe I ever could have done it without her truly and guiding me and holding me accountable to being there for myself. Because, being accountable to my own self is very difficult. And that's one thing that I think has really been great with you, is that I'm accountable to you, which makes me accountable to me.
I love that. And you know what? Let's not worry about muting, because this whole muting thing is going to be a pain in the butt. So don't worry about it. Moving on, it'll just be what it'll be. No worries. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And, the accountability part is super, super important. And I don't even know where I want to start. There's been so much that has transcended over the past few months. I remember when you first came to me, you had an intention. You had an intention that you wanted to transcend, the trauma that you've had with your boating accident. And we both knew at the beginning that, you weren't ready yet. So what we had to do was kind of, build a safe place, build an intuitive self-care routine outside of the coaching so you can elevate your energy, reconnect with yourself, love yourself again through that process. And then when you felt called to it the one day, you decided to dive into it. And it was the most profound experience that I've ever experienced in my life. So thank you for being open on that. But did you want to explain a little bit about how you were able to transcend the PTSD with your boating accident, and just kind of share from the heart, that experience, but also how you're able to overcome that experience over the past few months?
Yes. So, a lot of people who are close to me know about the boating accident. I nearly died in it. So a lot of that was, I started where water used to be my peaceful place. It became very terrifying for me. I could not be around it without feeling extreme anxiety. So I don't know if anyone's had panic attacks. So tight chest, hard time breathing, head getting dizzy. And unfortunately I'm a fisher girl, so being nervous around water was not great for me. So, and I think the boating accident now was almost 9 years ago. And so I've been dealing with this on my own, not really knowing how to transcend it until you came along. So basically what we did was Celine created a very safe space for me, and I was able to go to that day again. And we normally, when you've experienced near-death traumas, your brain will blank out a lot of things, and it makes it very difficult to deal with them if it's just a foggy memory. So what that did for me to transcend it was to bring myself into that day, into that moment, the emotions, the thoughts, and to understand what I really truly dealt with in that day. And, whereas most people would think you do something like this, you come out feeling worse on the other end, I've just felt so light. And because of being able to have a safe space like this with you, I was able to use it to changed my entire life. Like, I don't have PTSD anymore. I can drive the boat now. Water, I'm comfortable with it again. Like, all these amazing things. And releasing that has helped me open so many more doors in my life, so many more things that I'm able to love about myself and enjoy, and very much live in the now and in the present moment and just be happy, like that true bubbly happy feeling. And if it wasn't for you and creating that space, I never would have been able to release it.
Oh my, thank you. I'm learning how to receive the love, you know, that I pour into my clients. So thank you for creating a safe place and being authentic and open and pouring that love onto me. So I receive it with open arms. And Danielle, to truly, you know, to truly witness that, you know, I just want to put a disclaimer in here that I'm not a therapist, so I'm not specialized in transcending trauma. But I did know that as a coach that I could help other people heal in different ways. So this was a first for me, to be honest with you. I've done a lot of my own healing, but to do it for somebody else in a traumatic experience, you were my first. And, you know, when we go back to that day and you were just feeling your feels, I remember just listening, just arms wide open, creating a space, listening to you. You truly recap the situation in your mind, and it's almost like you relived that exact day, and you were crying, you were in tears, and you were just, you know, your body was reacting to what was happening. So what was the difference of experiencing that with me and allowing to truly let go? Because I know let go of that term in the spiritual industry is very hard to describe, right? Maybe that a better word would be transcend. How would you be able to, like, how were you able to transcend in that moment? Can you explain to us what you experienced in that exact moment to relive it 9 years later?
Yes. So I think what it was, you know, I've done counseling my whole life. And like you said, you're not a counselor, but I think that's what the difference is you're special. And that in that moment, I was able to live it through my body, but in a very safe way. And the difference is, instead of, you know, digging at the wound when you're already in so much pain and so low, you did so much to help elevate me and bring me up to that beautiful moment of I was at peace and I was happy and I knew I was strong enough now to deal with something so dark. So it wasn't like normal counseling where it was like, here, let's take the wound and just keep scraping at it. It's like, here, let's take little moments and build yourself up, help you deal with your triggers, get you to that really strong place. And if you're ready, then we can do it. And you always were waiting on my intuition and my readiness, and you never pushed. And because of that, it was my own intuition and my own ideas. And I think that's truly what it is like, you're special, you have magical powers. I don't know what it is, but I've always felt so safe, and it's made it so amazing and beautiful as an experience.
Thank you. Well, I do Reiki and energy healing, so I do a lot of airy fairy stuff. So when you say magic, I just want to pull up my magic wand, and you know. But thank you for explaining that. And Danielle, what you just explained is literally what I did to transform my life in the past years in my darkest moments. So for you to relate that back, you know, is just truly magical for me. For it to have somebody really be open to this work, especially when we're doing spirituality work and really connecting to our intuition, right? It's not really words, it's the energy behind the word, it's the space that it's created, and it's for you to do your work outside of this and really connecting with that intuition again, right? So it's, you know, it's very unique. So thank you for expressing that. And going back to your you know, when you first went back in the water, because you transcended this trauma twice. The first time was when you got on the boat, and then the second time was when you drove the boat. Can you explain to us the tools that you use? Like we understand kind of what led you up to that moment and everything that we did to transcend it. But when you went back on the water, what were the tools that you used, maybe intellectually and physically or intuitively, to help calm your body down and walk you through that process? And maybe, you know, who was with you to create that environment for you to thrive, right? And take that next leap?
Yeah, absolutely. So whereas before, if I were to be in a small sized boat on a river, like I'd have a life jacket on and be in a fetal position on the bottom of the boat, like, especially if I hear running water, it was not good. So I think the biggest things were that day was, you know, we had just finished transcending it together, and then we discussed taking little baby steps to help me with my PTSD. Well, then I made a trip up to my parents' place, and my dad was like, guess what? We're going to go fishing in a little boat on the same river you almost died in. And I was like, great, that's not a little step. I'm like, but I got this. I'm like, it's okay. So Lynn has given me the tools. I got this. So it was like, you know, there was definitely that initial moment of like, holy crap, like, this is terrifying. Okay. But I'm like, no, I'm like, I got this. I've talked about it. I've processed the emotions. I said, and now I need to figure out how to do this. So it was almost like just like talking to myself in my head, making sure I was breathing, knowing that, you know, I was with my dad, so I was safe. And that's a big thing. So if you're trying to transcend PTSD or something, have someone there that, you know, supports you both emotionally or physically or whatever it is, that person who, you know, you're always safe with. And for me, it's my dad. So him being there, and, you know, he saw me, he's like, are you all right? I'm like, yep, I'm just processing and breathing. I said, last time I was on this river, I almost died. And he was like, oh, okay. And he just sat quietly and gave me the space, and I closed my eyes and I breathed deeply. And I remembered that no matter what, I could handle anything. And as soon as I felt that power, it was like gone. It was like all that anxiety just released from my body. My ego wasn't controlling my brain anymore. And I was like, okay, like, as long as I'm breathing and I have my little mantra that I am safe and I am strong, and that, you know, life is life, things will happen, but obviously I've been through that before and I can make it through it again. And I think that's really what it came down to.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And I think you raised a really good point on making sure that you're in a safe environment. Because even with my own healing, you know, I wasn't able to do it unless I was surrounded by safe people. So I think the foundational to any transformation is a safety, right? It's creating a safe place with your coach or therapist or whatever it is that you're doing. And then outside of that, you need to make sure that you create a safe environment for yourself, which may, you know, you might have to do very difficult decisions, right, around that to create that safety. So that's beautiful that you were able to, you know, that your dad was able to be there and help you transcend that, you know, and for you to be on that boat again. Like, for example, like, what does that mean to you, like, moving forward? Is like, how now that you're able to go fishing and kind of break free from this, what does that mean to you moving forward?
Good question. That one's one I have to think about. So moving forward, what that means to me is, I know that, like, it gives me this sense of strength, like strong woman. I know I have this woman inside me who breathes fire in the face of danger. And so having faced that and feeling confident in everything else, that moving forward, that means I can conquer anything I want to conquer. It gives me that belief. It's freed me from something that I was angry at myself for feeling like, you know, get over it. It was years ago. Like, you need to be over this and stuff. You know, all of that went away. And I was like, I'm human. Things happen. I have a hard time dealing with them, but I can deal with them. So moving forward, it just means that you know, I'm more confident in doing everything I do, whether it be starting a new business or talking to somebody on the street or going and having dinner by myself, anything. It just means that I know that I got me, and that's all I really need.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And that's a powerful thing when you know, you take your power back and you become empowered again. And if someone, for example, were on the fence, because I know that your intention to share your story when we talked about this was, you said, if it could help one person, right? If it could help one person, sharing my experience. And I know, you know, you're a giver and you truly want to make a difference in this world, and you are making a difference in this world. And what would you tell that person who's on the fence, like wanting to get help, whether that's with me or a therapist, or it doesn't matter, taking that next leap like you did when you reached out? What kind of advice, A, would you kind of give back to yourself so that you can pursue this, or somebody else, right? Because it's kind of the same thing, to really take that leap. Because now looking back, you know, you understand the importance of taking that leap and doing this inner work, and now you become free from that. But it's hard to take that leap when you're in that darkness and in that pain and in that fear, right? So what kind of advice would you give to somebody?
I think the biggest thing for me was a year ago, I started as a PSW. So working with elderly has really opened my eyes. So I think something I've started to say now is, if not now, when? Do you really want to be 90 something years old and regretting everything? The fact that you hated yourself, the fact that you didn't love yourself, that you didn't enjoy those moments, that you're always waiting for the next thing and you felt like life sucked? Or you can take hold of your life right now and start living it, because there's nothing but getting older, and life is just going to get more difficult because either body problems or health problems, financial problems. So, you know, take life separately from who you are as a person, and know that there's happiness, that your path has always been there, even though it seems to be dark and it seems to be hard. At some point the light will shine again, and the only way you can do that is if you trust in yourself to help yourself, whether, you know, that be counseling or coaching or anything. Just know that you'll do nothing but regret when you're on your deathbed if you don't start doing something now.
That was beautiful, and thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing from the heart. And I know a lot of times, you know, what held me back when I first started hiring coaches and started doing my own inner transformation was the money, right? Was the money to hold myself back. And in my own personal life too, I had, you know, my coach, Matthew Hayes, who helped me when I was going through my separation and, you know, just feeling lost and not knowing where to turn. And, you know, I felt like I wasted, you know, X amount of money or whatnot because, you know, I didn't know where I was turning, and, you know, I had debt accumulated. And then he asked me, he said, and I asked you the same question, so thank you to him because I was able to give it to you too. But he asked me, how much would you pay for this healing? Like, how much would you pay to be the woman you are today? And I was like, I answered, I was like, priceless. I was like, so then it really shifted my mind on the importance of taking care of ourselves. Obviously, we don't want to put anybody in financial debt, but when we feel like we want to take the leap, but the only thing holding us back is money, to go back again, I would have done it tenfold times, because, you know, I wouldn't be the woman I am today if it wasn't for, you know, investing in my own self-care. But we forget the importance of self-care, right? Because it's all about the money and the masculine energy and go, 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 not taking care of ourselves. So do you want to address that maybe of somebody who, you know, wants to, but maybe is financially is holding themselves back in a sense to really take the step to transform their life?
Yes. So no, that was definitely something that was holding me back, as I was worried about finances, always have been, always will be. But I looked at it this way, as I can either invest this money in something that is more than likely actually going to work, or I can invest my money in things that are superficial, like, oh, if I save up enough money and I get a new vehicle, well, then my constant problem of a car breaking down and all that stuff's going to go away. Or if I save up money and I buy a house, I'm going to feel fulfilled and I'll finally be happy. These are all physical things that don't actually matter to your heart and soul. We're trained in the society to spend the money on these things, that we're going to find happiness, that this present moment is just a waiting game to get to the final end, and we forget to live. So, you know, investing in yourself in something like this is huge. Like you said, it's priceless. You asked me that question once too, and I said, absolutely priceless. I'd pay all the money in the world for this, because now I know what truly is going to fulfill my heart and soul, and I'm not just going to be wasting my time on finding outer things. That at the end of the day, happiness and love comes from in me. I could be living in a box right now and I'd probably be happy. I mean, I'd be miserable, but I'd be happy because I've figured out that investing in myself is so much more worth investing in what our society has taught us to invest in.
Thank you for that. And I was going to say, probably with Tessa, though, your dog, right? You move into the cardboard box with Tessa. I can't leave her behind. Which brings me back to a random point, too. I'm starting to offer, Reiki sessions specifically to clients. There's a lot of people that reach out to me just for Reiki. And, I let go of that for a while. And I've been doing it in my coaching, more of a guided meditation. But Reiki is kind of like energy healing. And you want to maybe talk a little bit about what happened that one coaching session with Tessa, which like brought me to tears, because I knew the power of Reiki and people have told me that they felt it. But for the Reiki to pass through me, through you, and then to your dog was like just a magical, again, a transformational moment for myself, because sometimes we forget of how powerful we are. And everyone has Reiki energy, by the way. You don't have to be a Reiki, master or whatnot to have this. So can you share your experience with you being able to do this for yourself and your dog?
Yes. So, when you first talked to me about Reiki, I was like, oh boy, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work for me. I had so many like mental blocks and walls everywhere. Like, what is this energy stuff? Witchcraft? What are you talking about? And it's slowly like, like the first time I was like, I don't know if this works. And then the second time I'm like, okay, I felt a little. And then the third time you blew my mind. I'm like, whoa, you took away my back pain. Now that is some hardcore stuff. I don't know how she did this. She is a magic woman. But so now it's to the point where like, I look forward to our Reiki sessions every single week because it just helps me find my inner self again, helps calm me. So when you're talking about the Tessa thing was usually we start our sessions off with Reiki where it makes me feel safe, strong, like I have my angels supporting me. And we'd had about almost 3 days of really bad weather, thunderstorms, and Tessa's very scared of thunderstorms. So she'd been hiding under the bed for like 2 days. She wouldn't come out for cookies. She wouldn't come out for nothing. Like it was worrying me. It was making me sad. And then we had our session and we were in another room from where she was hiding under the bed. And you got to the set part of the Reiki where I was really feeling the energy, and you asked my angels who support me to come to me. And Tessa came out from under the bed and joined me on the bed and laid on top of me. She felt that energy and it connected with her and made her feel safe. And it was still storming outside, but she came out from under the bed because she felt that energy. She felt that calm, that safeness, and it was out in the open, and she's never been that comfortable during a thunderstorm ever.
Oh, thank you for sharing that story. And especially the fact, I used to have a dog. She passed away now, but used to have the dog who did the same thing, who would like tremble, right? Who would tremble on thunderstorms. So knowing that the power of Reiki and how it could be felt because at the beginning, we were doing Reiki at Be Real Studios together. And then, COVID happened and whatnot, and we started doing it electronically. And you're far away from me. Like is it a 10-hour drive from me? We won't say the location, but yeah, a 10-hour drive. So for you to be a 10-hour drive and feeling the Reiki on top of that, because the dog thing happened when we were online, right? Not in person. And can you tell me a little bit of the difference between online and in person? I know I've had some work that I need to do to communicate more properly and add guided meditations and visualizations, because in person I kind of don't talk very much. But do you feel a difference, or do you still, like you say, you still got the healing benefits, but can you just explain a little bit the difference for people, rather that be online or in person, because you were able to receive both ends of it for Reiki?
Yeah, so I think really the difference is like, yeah, you don't do much talking when we're physically together doing Reiki. But so I think what that difference is how I feel physically. So when we were doing it in person, you were able to actually take away my physical aches and pains. But I didn't transcend so much in my brain. So it was more like I was healing the aches and pains in my bodies, which are all associated with anxiety and depression as well. But online, I enter this almost like ethereal space within me. Like I have this own little world and this own little person, and I'm on a mountain and I'm strong and I can defeat the world, and I'm looking over it and the wind's blowing in my hair and I just feel so powerful, like woman on fire, like just completely empowered in a different way. So physically I might still have my aches and pains, but energetically I've I feel better than I've ever felt in my entire life. And I feel like I can breathe again, like the blood's flowing through me, and that no matter what, I have the power of everything inside of me.
Thank you. That's so beautiful. And it's good to know the feedback, right, of the difference, because I know I feel a difference too when I'm doing it. So it's nice to get that feedback. Thank you for sharing. I also wanted to dive into, before we leave, a few more questions. Was you were able to, kind of start your dream job too, right? Or start your dream or your vision. Sorry, let me correct that. Start taking baby steps towards your highest vision, right? So in the past few months, you not only transcended your PTSD from your boating accident, but you're also able to, and you can explain this a bit more, but say no to what you're currently doing and take that leap of faith, and now slowly taking baby steps towards this beautiful vision that you have. So do you want to share that a little bit with us?
Yeah, so don't get me wrong, I love what I do. And at the end of the day, like we've talked about, there's the doing what you love and also making sure you're grounded in reality. So it's definitely, whereas before, my reality was you go to work every day to work as hard as you can, to come home miserable, to just so you can pay your bills and live life. Well, is that really living life? And with you, I've learned that no, the only way I'm truly gonna be happy is living life the way I want to. So yeah, like I do plan on eventually announcing and opening my own side business. The reality is I'm definitely still going to be a PSW and hold a job to pay the bills and things, but it has given me instead of my mindset being, oh, it's all poppy dreams and butterflies and only the rich can do it, so why waste your time? It's turned into like, well, why not at least try? If you fail, then you weren't meant to be, but if you don't try, are you really living? So, I've so far at least only come up with like a business logo and name and things like that, but it's allowed me to take those steps, whereas I wish I could go back in time and tell my 17-year-old self who was trying to decide what to do in life that yes, you are worthy of doing these things. It does not matter if it doesn't make you money. It does not matter if other people criticize it. You are worthy and you are smart, and do it, because that's the only way you're going to be happy. I feel like some of the biggest waste of time I've had is going to school for degrees that I know deep down are just to pay the bills and are never going to make me happy, truly. And so now I've got the confidence to do something that'll make me happy. And I'm fully grounded in reality that I have to have a job and pay my bills. But I believe because of that passion now, when I fully kickstart my new business and things like that, I'll be able to make that a self-sustainable thing in the future. I might not make millions, but that's not what I want. I don't want millions. I just want happiness.
I love that. And, that's a beautiful thing that you're grounded in your reality and taking care of things like you need to, but also taking steps towards your highest vision. And that's a beautiful thing to have both, right? Because if you would jump in two hands, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Depending on who you are, but yet not feeling secure and grounded, then, it could be a big hot mess. So it's good that you're being responsible, but then at the same time, also exploring and taking the next steps towards this new adventure of yours. I'm so excited for you. And I am just so honored to have coached you for the past 3 months, Danielle. You are an incredible woman. And I keep telling you that, and I keep telling you that I'm proud of you. But you really took the bull by the horns. That's just the best way I can explain it, ever so delicately, but very fiercely. And moving forward, if you wanted to leave, an inspiring message from the heart to anyone that's watching, what would you say?
Oh, that's a tough one. Love yourself first, always, because at the end of the day, you're all you have. You might have family, you might have friends, but your heart and soul is your life. Put your heart and your soul first, always, in a relationship, in family, in friends, in jobs. Always put yourself first. It's not selfish. Don't let others tell you you're selfish for that. It's just so that you can live your life as authentically as you possibly can.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I keep going. It's a good thing I am muted because I keep going, oh, such a cheese ball. All right. Okay, I'll stop being so cheesy. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to share your experience, being brave enough to share this. And honestly, it's been an honor working with you. And, you know, I know that by just you showing up and being yourself, you have, you know, changed somebody else's life just simply by jumping on here with me and sharing your heart and soul. Because we are vibrational beings and we forget that sometimes. And you know, even you making changes with yourself creates a ripple effect, not only in yourself but people around you, and then it pours into the world as well, right? So thank you, and it's been an honor, and we will chat with you maybe another time. And just wanted to end this and say, you know, you are doing great things, and I feel like you are going to share your beautiful gifts and continue to do that with the world, and your healing is only going to go deeper and deeper, and I'm excited to continue our journey outside of this together.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for everything. You know, it's crazy to think that in 3 short months with you, only meeting once a week, I've transcended so much. And, you know, this glowing inside of me was never there, and now it is. And I can't thank you enough for helping me along my journey and helping me conquer so many things. And I feel like I'm finally, for the first time, living my own life and living it for me. And that's because of you. And I really hope, you know, others are able to take what we've done and, you know, have the courage to work with you in the way that we work together, and, you know, so that we can share that love. And like you said, connect, especially as women, we all feel so disconnected, and it'd be great to empower each other and bring each other up. And that's what you've done for me. And thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you, lovely. I will end this with saying, create yourself a beautiful day, and me and you will connect after this video. So thank you. Mwah.